Good morning, my dear student. Today we're going to take a new lesson, lesson number 2, application of friction. In the previous lesson, you have learned that the friction force always acts in the direction opposite to the direction of motion. If you are the motion in this way, the friction is in opposite direction to the motion. So the motion is opposite to the friction and the friction is opposite to the motion. In this lesson, we are going to study advantages of friction force and disadvantages of friction force. What is the advantage of friction force? Number 1, friction between car tires and roads help the car to move forward. Here is the car tire and the road. When the car tire touches the road, there is a friction force is appear. Car brakes that are used to slow down or stop the car depend on friction. As you driving your car and try to slow down the car or stop the car, you have to use the brakes, which is depend on the friction. Number 3, friction enables us to control the car speed and to change the car direction. The friction enables us to control the car speed if you want to move the car fast or slow and change the car direction. Number 4, friction enables us to walk at the friction between our shoes and the ground, prevent us from slipping down. Of course, the rough surface increase the friction force, but in the smooth surface, it decrease the friction force. As in the other country, the road is smooth, which like ice. If the ice in the ground, it enables us to walk easily. So the rough surface help us to control the movement and not slipping down, prevent us from slipping down. Give reason. Friction is needed for lighting up match. When your mother used the matches for cooking, she touched the matches together for lighting. Give reason, because friction generate meaning produce heat that allow the match to heat up and start burning. So if we want to summarize the advantage and disadvantages of the friction, number 1, advantages or the benefit: help in moving car forward, help to control car speed and change the direction, help car brakes to slow down and stop cars, help us to walk, help in lighting matches, help in catching object in our hand. In other side, disadvantages of the friction. Friction rise the temperature of internal moving part. Of course, if you wrap your hand together like this, the friction generate heat. So the internal part, if they are working for a long time, there is a friction between the internal part which is produce heat. So the machine will damage and a lot of money is wasted. Number 2, machine need a continuous cooling to protect the internal part from damage. For a time to time, you have to cooling the machine to not be damaged or not use a lot of money in wasted. Engineer design machine in a proper way, give reason to decrease the friction between the internal moving part. So some engineer using lubricant and oil to decrease the friction force, which is decrease the heating between the internal part of the machine. Again, so we have in this lesson, we have to study the benefit and disadvantages of the friction. Benefit of friction: number 1, moving car forward. Number 2, control car speed and change the direction. 3, car brakes to slow down and stop car. Help us to walk, not slipping down. Help in lighting matches and catching object in our hands. As there is a benefit for the friction, there is also disadvantage of friction, which number 1, it's rise the temperature, which is an internal part of machine, which is damaged, let the machine damage and lose a lot of money. Number 2, you have to cooling the machine for a while, internal part for a while to prevent the damage. Some engineers design a machine in a proper way to decrease the friction between the internal moving part. These are our lesson today. I hope you understand. See you next lesson. Bye-bye.